And at
Their
great
IQ
cost,
points
these rise
are
in these
poisoning the
children
gene
self-deleting
pool.
isn't a made-up number, and it isn't because they're being or they weren't being affirmed. It's confusion and regret, a new cult of
Hold on,
our
whoa. What's she talking about? What the what? Where did this come from? We were just talking about changing male and female to type 1 and type in video games, in the fantasy video game. We were talking about the fantasy video game. What? Okay, I guess we're here now. So we have another suggestion from the juice box in the Discord server, which you can join if you follow the link in the description below or the QR code that Dubsy very kindly puts on the screen while they're editing. Thank you, Dubsy. We are going to watch a video called, here, let me pull it up. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is a wake-up call. Now, on its face, this doesn't seem like anything bad, but as we know, there's been a lot of talk about wokeness in gaming lately, and unfortunately, this does seem to be one of those videos. The person who posted this said, what did they say? I honestly don't even know what else to say about this. Apparently, Japanese devs are annoyed about having to move away from the terms male and female in character creation, stating it's a religion issue. But then this guy goes on a rant about kids committing suicide as if those two things are related. So, yeah, it's just going to be about, I guess, instead of male, female, now we have body type 1 and 2, which, just to give my opinion off the bat, I don't really care that much. Who cares? Like, it's not a big deal. Like, you can say that one is the stereotypical male body type and one's the stereotypical female body type, sure. But body type 1 and 2 is good. It's fine. Not a problem at all. Also, I might say, for people who don't want kids learning about sex at a young age, well, I mean, body types 1 and 2 is much better than male-female, which are sexes. But I digress anyway. Let's go ahead and start this video.
I don't know if you feel the same as me. The growing level of fatigue over the radical right and the radical left, otherwise known as woke, in this ongoing culture war and for the fight of the heart of gaming. But keep in mind,
Why the Spanish? Can I change it to English? It was Portuguese. Why did you have me on Portuguese? Okay.
Do agree this is a fight worth having to bring gaming back.
Why do
to
I
the
gotta
center,
press
to
2 for
truly
English?
Make it a more diverse and inclusive place without the need to virtue signal and not do anything. But keep in mind, this is a fight worth having to bring gaming back to the center, to truly make it a more diverse and inclusive place without the need to virtue signal and then not do anything about it. Or in the case of these game publishers, to only push some of these ideas into their games because they want them to sell more copies. I've always tried to talk with people in good faith and to find some middle ground, but in the online world, more often than not, this is just a fruitless waste of time. But I still think it's important to keep reaching out and to not insult people, but to attack their ideas, attack the isms and the institutions that empower the whole process. That's why we really need to see the death of a narrative of this legacy gaming media, because there is no diversity in their ranks. That shows all the way from IGN to Timbuktu. Pretty much verbatim do we see these sites and these reports report the same story the same way, and interestingly enough, omit the same things.
Is it just me, or is he saying a whole lot of nothing right now? Like, there's just a lot of word salad here.
And the more people we can make aware of that, the better. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dragon Quest III Death of a Narrative. I've been greatly looking forward to Dragon Quest III's remake. Dragon Quest, in fact, was the first RPG I ever played. I got it from my subscription to Nintendo Power, and I still have it
just like
to
me,
this
for
day.
real.
But we've all seen the news. They've taken gender out of the game. They've bent the knee to the radical left mindset.
Here we go.
We shouldn't have gender in video games. And this weekend...
Let's go. No gender in video. Again, I thought that, like, we were all about taking gender, like, not teaching kids gender studies and shit. Like, what happened? That's a horrible intro. It was very boring. I almost fell asleep.
We actually got some really good news. And that's where this narrative that we've seen online say that this is actually from the devs. This is what they've been wanting to do. This was them actually leading the charge.
A genderless society. Let's
go. This
go.
was them given an ultimatum based off of bad data and a narrative being pushed by a small and vocal minority online. Because the devs and the creators don't want this at all either. And in their words they use to describe it, they're quite chilling. So,
hey guys, guess what? There was no gender gendered Pokemon in the first Pokemon. Oh my God. The Pokemon and the original Pokemon didn't have a gender. They were clearly pushing ideology. And I'll mention, there are still Pokemon who don't have a gender. How dare you imply that you can go through life without a gender? That's crazy.
So let me highlight a few of the quotes for you just now. Under the name of compliance, it's like an absolute god. An evil disguised as good. There is no such thing as content that doesn't make everyone uncomfortable because beauty and ugliness, good and evil, are different for everyone. There is a religious concept from the West, especially in America, that influences their approach to sex education. Their approach to compliance is a very narrow-minded, doing business with such as ridiculous a country is really frustrating. Because of that, Japan gets negatively influenced.
Damn.
In Dragon Quest, you used to be able to choose between a male and a female character, but now you can't choose between a man or a woman anymore.
Oh, wait.
We have to label them as type 1 and...
Wait, I thought this guy was saying... So I agreed with this guy where it's like, yeah, there are like religious ideas of... Did I misunderstand that? There are like religious ideas of sex... Oh, wait. Was he saying that like trans ideology is a religion? Oh, that's really funny because what I thought he was saying is that like Christianity in the West and concepts of sex in Christianity are destroying like Japanese concepts of gender and sex, which I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's what I thought he was saying, right? Did anybody else get that feeling? But I think he's saying that like trans ideology, quote unquote, is a religion. So stupid.
Type 2. And then finally concluding,
literally the same thing, but
I want to focus
opposite.
in on this last line that he said. I really wonder who is even complaining about this. And then right
Apparently
on cue,
a lot,
Dragon
like
Quest
a lot of
fans
you
are seriously trying to cancel the creators. Years of delivering you all heartwarming stories, and now you turn on him. How two-faced you might be. In the pro-canceling of the Dragon Quest creator, Brian LS Comics.
By the way, you don't have to change that in the game just because people are like if nobody's complaining about it, it's still your right as the game creator to change it. Like, it doesn't even have to be that the game creator was influenced or was trying to push an ideology or anything like that. Maybe he just wanted to change it because, you know, that's his decision and his right. Maybe in his world there is no gender. You ever think about that? Maybe in his world there's just a male body type and a female body type, but they don't consider them male and female. They consider them type 1 and type 2. Like, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
It's
I don't blame
fantasy,
him for
exactly.
feeling the way he does, but I do blame him for giving the grifters more ammunition. Every single time I think it's safe to re-enter the online Dragon Quest communities, new happens. I'd almost prefer Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D never happened at this point. It's all so tiresome. In the anti-cancellation, Zippy writes, fans do not like the censorship and downgrade.
I think he was fully talking about Christians. No, because at the end he says, look, in Dragon Quest you used to be able to choose between a male and female main character, but now you can't choose between a man and a woman anymore. We have to label them as type 1 and type 2. That's the same guy who was saying this. Yeah, they're saying that like this sex ideology or whatever in the West is spreading like a disease. I think he's complaining about the anti-woke people making a big deal. I don't know. We're moving on from this. Doesn't matter.
And then right on cue, Dragon Quest fans are seriously trying to cancel the creators. Years of delivering you all heartwarming stories, and now you turn on him. How two-faced you might be. In the pro-canceling of the Dragon Quest creator, Brian LS Comics writes, I don't blame him for feeling the way he does, but I do blame him for giving the grifters more ammunition. Every single time I think it's safe to re-enter the online Dragon Quest communities, new happens. I'd almost prefer Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D never happened at this point. It's all so tiresome. In the anti-cancellation, Zippy writes, fans do not like the censorship and downgrades. The fake fans love Dragon Quest not being Dragon Quest anymore. Kind of like a man playing dress up.
Wait,
and in the
is this literally all because there's not male and female anymore? It's type 1 and type 2 body type. That's what all this outrage is about. Like you can't play the game anymore because they changed the labels. Like, that's stupid. Yeah, of course you can still play the game. It's the same game. At what points in a game does the words male and female like even come into, like, I can't even think of a game where that's like super important. He's just a snowflake, I guess. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Conflicted category, we've got Mega Man NG saying facepalm. I do not blame.
And when I say that, I'm referring specifically to like saying the words male and female. The words male and female just don't come up. That's what I'm trying to say.
Though no way. I still plan on getting Dragon Quest 3 HD.
Like, who cares? You're playing a
I
fucking
don't
video
want
game.
the Dragon Quest to die in the West yet again. And that last one is kind of gut-wrenching, if we're going to be honest, because we
Why?
know Dragon Quest has continued
I
to
just don't want it
struggle
to
in the
die,
West,
so I'll
not
buy it
reaching
anyway.
the heights of anything like Final Fantasy or other Square Enix games here, but yet still being a powerhouse and still having that fan base. Again, having been a fan of this series since its beginning, this is a very conflicting problem to have. And at the same time, I think we really need to have that conversation. So to my fellow parents out there, it's time to wake up.
Oh God,
there is a reason why video games have become the battleground for children, and
can we take away these people's breeding rights
they have and how they can influence us all for generations to come. And at
Their
great
IQ
cost,
points
these rise
are
in these
poisoning
children's
the gene
self-deleting
pool.
isn't a made-up number, and it isn't because they're being or they weren't being affirmed. It's confusion and regret, a new cult of
Hold on,
our
whoa.
time.
What's he talking about? What the what? Where did this come from? We were just talking about changing male and female to type 1 and type in video games, in the fantasy video game. We were talking about the fantasy video game. What? Okay, I guess we're here now.
For generations to come. And at great cost, these rise in these children self-deleting isn't a made-up number, and it isn't because they're being or they weren't being affirmed. It's confusion and regret, a new...
He really found a way to like put that in there and shit on trans people. That's pretty cool. He found a way to do it. Transphobia is crazy, man. It's a disease. It really does rot the brain. This man's frontal lobe is cooked.
New cult of our time. And listen, if you're an adult, I don't care what you do with your life or what you call yourself. I think most reasonable people really don't want to have the government in each other's lives.
Yeah, don't worry. He's not that much of a bigot.
Children and why they're, and especially why.
Don't worry. He's not the bad guy. Don't worry. He's definitely in favor of freedom. Don't worry.
They're still developing, I think is one of the great crimes of our times. Because regardless of the rating...
I want to know what this guy's medical degree is, like where he's getting this information from. Or where his expertise is, okay? Because clearly he has a lot of knowledge on this, you know? Like it's literally in all the data that gender-affirming care is the best way possible to treat gender dysphoria. It is the best method. It has been tested. It's a tried and true method. It works better than most fucking medical treatments, honestly. And you just don't like it because you hate trans people. You just hate trans people. That's what it always comes back to. You just hate trans people. Don't sugarcoat it. Just come out and say it.
Video games are all advertised to kids. And that in and of itself
We don't hate
is
trans
something
people.
that we have to
I just don't think they should
stand up
exist in
and
public.
Honestly, whether we have to
Yeah,
speak up if
you
you're
do.
worried about like any kind of backlash, you just got to sit on your wallet. You just not have to open it up and give the studios and the publishers money and hope and
don't buy
pray
it.
that they learn the lessons and the marketplace of ideas responds in
Don't buy the
kind
game.
and helps to push back this ism, this religious extremism that we see from this side of the fence. The lines of
Yeah,
communication...
see, he just used the word religious, see? So, like, what I was saying earlier about that one tweet was correct. Like, he's saying that this trans thing... Like, I'm literally sitting there thinking, oh, he's talking about Christianity and the influence that has on our views on male and female and the sex and how sexes interact and whatever. And that's ruining Japan. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. But no, he was saying religion is in, like, trans ideology, the religion. And how that's like spreading like a disease from the United States to Japan.
Between players and the devs have been hijacked, and honestly the only real way gamers can send a message is by holding on to their money. And this one
Real
really
gamers.
hurts for me as a real test of Gamergate 2.0, as the other games this year really weren't.
Fine, deprive yourself of joy. You're such a saint, right? Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts me to not buy the video game, but I'll do it because it's the right thing to do. Shut the up, man. You're so full of yourself.
Anything I was interested in. So skipping AC Shadows, Dragon Age Vanguard, Star Wars Outlaws, it didn't require me to suffer. It didn't require me to, make a sacrifice for the greater good. It just required me to sit back and watch.
Okay, dude.
Now, I really wish that we could get this message over to Square Enix.
The boycott
This
will
isn't
work
going
this
to help them
time.
generate more
Trust
sales,
me.
but actually create more division within gaming. I'm really glad to see the creators talk about this and that it is gaining traction on social media. Even Elon Musk himself reposting the clip.
Oh!
But Dragon Quest also isn't as big as
Elon,
Final Fantasy in the West. So in terms of sales, no idea what their hope is for this title. And that's where I'm conflicted, because we've all seen time and time again, game publishers learn the wrong lessons from the data. And I think in large part, it's because they're listening to the wrong people. There's still hope. There's still time.
I missed like the last 20 seconds.
Their hope is for this title. And that's where I'm conflicted, because we've all seen time and time again, game publishers learn the wrong lessons from the data. And I think in large part, it's because they're listening to the wrong people.
What is he
There's
talking
still hope.
about?
There's still time.
There's still like great games out there. There's great games being made all the time. I don't think the gaming industry has ever been more booming than it currently is. Okay. Yeah. AAA games, I don't know. They're kind of starting to stink a little bit. Okay. But you know, when you're going off of like data and numbers and trying to like appease the public or whatever, with the perfectly formulated game. No, video games are an art form. It is a craft, okay, to create a video game. And that's what makes it special. So that's why these AAA companies are pumping out dog shit games, because they're going off of like, we've got the best graphics and this is perfectly formulated down to the number to be a amazing experience, open world with FPS and MOBA. And and we got this, like, no, it's supposed to be an art form, you know? So that's why indie games are doing so good and AAA games are mostly sucking a little bit.
And obviously
But my point in all that was the gaming industry is booming. There's so many indie games you can play, so many. And a lot of them are really, really good, better than AAA games. Spread out your repertoire a little bit.
Tell if gaming is able to make
games
any
are bad these
significant
days.
pushbacks
You haven't
against
played
the
the right
radicals
ones.
who practice hate and yell until they get their way. Because we need more people to stand up and tell the truth, even though it's going to cost them followers, even though it's going to bring
stand up and tell the truth.
Of opinions
I'm just a
down
truth
on top
teller,
of their
brother.
head. Here's a trick. Just ignore them, because they're just going to go away because they're professionally upset. That is their career choice, and that is their hobby, and that's what they do.
Dude, nobody's going to bitch at you for not buying the game. I just think it's really stupid that you would deprive yourself. Like, you're sitting here, like, flogging yourself, being like, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to do this. And it's like, no, you don't. Just buy the game. If you want to play it, buy it. Who cares? Why are you getting so up in arms about whether or not male or female are the words you see when you see the body types? What the is wrong with you? Just play the damn game. Remember when video games used to just be video games? You know, like, what? Okay, who cares? Just play the damn game.
Don't buy these games.
I have to keep hitting myself.
Yet we have
I have to do this because of the woke mob
for far too long. But at the same time, I don't label
I don't want to do this.
Evil. I think that they're just lost, that they're confused, and that they're just looking for some form
we're the
of
confused
community.
ones.
And that was what welcomed them to the online world. I will never give up on trying to reach across the aisle and have these good faith discussions.
Have one with me. I would love to have one. We're back in my debate arc, I think. I think we're back to the debate arc. So if this guy wants to have a good faith discussion, then let's have it. You know what? I would love to hear your reasoning on why you deprived yourself of this game, because it was sullied by taking out the words male and female when you first pick your body type. Okay, dude.
Because
I'd
that's
love to hear your
just
side
what
of
I
it.
think is needed. We've lost the ability to disagree. We've lost that as a skill.
Soiled it.
Never really translated into the online world.
You soiled it.
But I think it's a fight worth putting in time, even if it ends up being that maybe out of all of my YouTube career, I reach 1 or 2 people. I think that means that it was worth it to me in the end. But then again, it's just my time to waste. You don't have to follow suit and join me in my quest here. Now, I think if I do get a copy of Dragon Quest III Remake free from one of my contacts within the company, I'm going to play it. But sadly, I think I have to sit this one out, at least for now. I still believe
I would
that
still
there's
play
time
it
for them to change, time
if I
for
got
them
it
to
for
roll
free.
back these changes and reject this false god that they believe that they have to appease.
Would it be a Giga Chad move to gift him the game? What if I just like got it for him and be okay, here, you can play it now. I supported them for you. Now you have no excuse. It's already been purchased. Play the damn game.
As with all things,
Play it, pussy.
time will reveal the truth. And thank you guys so much for your time today.
I'm not going to do it.
But let's wrap up our video as we wrap up all our videos.
He doesn't deserve
with
my
our message
charity
of hope. Recently on a video for Message of Hope, I talked about being a father. I've got 6 kids, and I got this comment, and I wanted to talk about it because
That's 6 kids.
They're not alone in that struggle, and I like to
Well, I hope those kids aren't trans because you would abuse the fuck out of them.
share my thoughts with you and hopefully help encourage you guys out there to let you know that you're also not alone in this struggle. S7R49
Remember, kids, every transphobic parent is a potential child abuser.
says 6 kids. Dang, I wish we could have kids, but we're both 41 and I still can't afford them. Not much time left for us. Makes me sad on a daily basis that I'll probably never have a family. And this was heartbreaking to read. And I replied to them, and we had hopefully a nice conversation.
Hold on, I gotta read again. 6 kids. Dang, I wish I could have kids, but we're both 41, still can't afford them. Not much time left for us. Okay.
And this was heartbreaking to read. And I replied to them, and we had hopefully a nice conversation. I thought it was a nice conversation, but this is heartbreaking because I know that they're not alone. I know, and I experienced this, like in real time when we were going through it. Like me and my wife, we couldn't have kids. It was a whole ordeal, like brain tumor preventing us from having a baby, having brain surgery on my wife, in this case. That was a terrifying experience. And outside of that, like obviously, light years ahead of that, now,
I wouldn't wish a brain tumor
on
anybody.
6 kids, and it is a blessing, and it also brings in a lot of challenges. One reason why you don't see me stream all the time. One of the reasons why you see my content being what it is.
6 is a lot. I am also one of 6
on your own, because that is like this beautiful thing that I get to experience. But I also had to grieve that I wouldn't experience this as well. And that's kind of where I know several people are. I'd like to talk about one key aspect that they said, and this isn't me causing, or shaming anybody, because this is the world we live in. Like me and my wife, we were in $100,000 in debt. Honestly, it felt like it was impossible to overcome. We found Dave Ramsey, and through his program, we changed our lives and we changed our financial
Why are we talking
future.
about this?
The idea that you can't afford children, I don't think even still, if I had more money, that I could truly afford children. But
He has segments. What's this segment? Affording children, costs and considerations. Why do we have this? Overcoming debt with Dave Ramsey's Oh, is he just shilling Dave Ramsey's program? Is that all this is? Should I skip? No, he's still making commentary. Like, if you don't want kids, don't have kids. The idea that you can't afford children.
I think even still, if I had more money, that I could truly afford children.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Maybe we should push for policy that allows people to afford children. Maybe that'd be a good thing to do.
But I think
I doubt, I don't know his position on social issues besides obviously trans people, but usually it's part and parcel, the transphobia with, not wanting things like universal health care. They just want universally bad things.
Lost what it actually costs to raise a child. We think we have to give them all these things, but really what they want is our time and not necessarily our things. Sure, shelter, food, the 4 walls, the basics of life.
Oh, but all they want is our time, but also things that cost a lot of money. Like what?
Yes. And if that's the struggle that you're going through, I really would encourage you to check out Dave Ramsey. I would, even if you don't follow it to a T, at least if you learn how to do a budget and live within your means and work down your debt,
maybe Dave Ramsey's
you'll actually
good.
find that you'll get more raises and make more money, because these companies, we talked about it in a mini rant in this video.
What did he say?
Live within your means.
Learn how to budget, live within your means. Yeah, see, exactly. See, like he's not in favor of debt cancellation. He doesn't give a shit that you're in debt. Oh, just pull up those bootstraps, little guy. Slap on the ass. Get back to work.
You'll actually find that you'll get more raises and make
just
more
eat
money,
less.
because these companies, we talked about.
Have you considered
it in
just eating less?
Rant in this video, like to put their thumb down on you. They want the leverage. They're gonna keep that leverage on top of you and keep you working for less than you're worth, because they know they can, because they know you need the job, and that's one of the reasons why they do a credit check on you when you apply for work. Now, I don't know specifically what financial situation you're in. I know there are people who are in desperate need. They're just trying to get a leg up. And for you guys, I honestly am hopeful. I want to encourage these actions, because I know that they do work, but you got to believe that they can work. I think that's a key aspect here. We talked a little bit about faith throughout this.
Okay, I agree that a lot of people could stand to tighten their budget. I being one of them. Okay, me being one of them. But there are a lot of people who just simply don't have a choice, and I don't like this idea that like anybody can just pull up their bootstraps. And I mean, you guys know this, obviously. I'm just preaching to the choir, but like, it's not always that simple, and I still think that people should be allowed to enjoy their lives, like I strive for a world where we don't have to tell people to just tighten your belt and pull up your bootstraps. You know, that world is possible. So that's the world that I like to strive for.
Entire video, both from the positive and the negative. In fact,
And that's where my
I
work
never
goes, my effort.
would argue that Final Fantasy.
My effort doesn't go into like, yes, I can sit here and tell my audience, obviously, if you have subscriptions you don't need, if you're buying things that are frivolous and you don't need, yeah, if you're buying a lot of weed and you can't afford it, then yeah, stop buying that shit. Don't be dumb. Okay, don't be stupid. Budget your money. I can say that, and I agree with that. But at the same time, I would love a world where I don't have to tell people to budget, where they can just be like, yeah, I can afford the things I want. I can afford the things I want. Wouldn't that be a nice world to live in? I think so.
Is an anti-religious game. It's an anti-religious extremism game. And it's unfortunate that through all of this, we see that all being connected in together. And right now, that's why I have to use religious words in this fight. I just got excommunicated by another person online today.
What?
That's their choice. And it's really, unfortunate.
I got excommunicated by another person online. That's not how excommunication works, is it? Unless you're part of like that person's church. Excommunication is banishment from the church, dude. What do you mean you got excommunicated from somebody? You mean they cut you off? What does he mean by that? I don't think that word means what you think it means. Why are we on this anyway? This isn't just an ad. He's like rambling. He really is the talker. This part of the video is kind of even more vague than the introduction. It's jarring. Why are we here? It's jarring. We were just talking about wokeness in games, and now we're talking about like work ethic and like, okay, all right. I'll watch it
when that happens, but you can't reason with unreasonable people. But you can change your life and your destiny. Don't wait for anybody else to do it for you. And sure, I'm not going to ever fight against group action to bring about change. I think that's another tool we have in our
join
belt,
socialism.
But we have to be united, and we have to agree on what things mean, and that is the real tragedy of the online culture war. Nobody can agree on what anything means.
What?
But besides group action and me not necessarily standing against it, the focus is on individual action.
Dude, he is like the master of pivoting topics. That's crazy. I didn't know where one topic ended and the next began. What happened?
And sure, I'm not going to ever fight against group action to bring about change. I think that's another tool we have in our belt, but we have to be united and we have to agree on what things mean, and that is the real tragedy.
That was a crazy pivot. That gave me whiplash. That's like better than any roller coaster I've ever been on with how much whiplash that gave me.
The online culture war. Nobody can agree on what anything means.
He's like,
but besides group
deftly
action,
maneuvering his way through these topics.
Standing against it, the focus is on individual action for me and you right now. Me telling you, don't wait for somebody to come and save you. Save yourself.
Yeah, somebody needs to proofread his work.
Yourself. You got to believe that you can, and then you got to start working the baby steps to make those changes. Whether that's within the financial, whether that's within your physical. I've worked down 80 plus pounds in a year, and yeah, it's not 100. I see people posting the 100. I'm working my way towards it, and I'm going to hit it, and then maybe a little bit more on the side. Really trying to get into that healthy range for my body type.
I am also trying to get fit.
I think ultimately that's the goal. And that's whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, with your mental health. I want to encourage you guys to fight for yourself and never give up on yourself, because
he's
you're
just people
worth
talking
living for. And over on the MMO channel, I talked about this in a recent video, Death and Narrative for New World. It's really talking about, and I want to leave you with that here. Because when we talk about fatherhood, I think this is where this all stems from.
Were we talking about fatherhood? Is that what we were talking about? Okay. I thought we were talking about wokeness in video games, and then I thought we were talking about work ethic, and then I thought we were talking about agreeing on the meanings of words. But I guess we were talking about fatherhood.
There's no such thing as an illegitimate child. There's just illegitimate parents. And I just want to encourage you guys, if you especially have had that rough hand.
Did he let AI generate him a script? Dude, could it be? Perhaps this is maybe this is an AI generated script. I believe it.
Where you can't trust the people who's supposed to protect and love you the most. Let me say I'm sorry. And while I cannot be a replacement for that, I do.
That would literally include you if you had trans kids. You understand that if your child ever decides, if one of your 6 kids, hey, the more kids you have, the more likely this is, okay? If one of your 6 kids ends up being trans, guess what? They're going to go behind your back and not trust you. You know that? Probably if they're gay, too, if I had to guess. They're not going to trust your ass. What are you doing? The pot meat kettle. Like, you're talking about bad parents. You are one, motherfucker. you are one. At least in that one regard, you would absolutely abuse a trans kid. Based on what I've heard here. Remember, every transphobic parent is a potential child abuser.
I do want to encourage you guys a couple things for me. First and foremost, on a daily basis, work on forgiving them. And on the second one, work on forgiving yourself. Because you are not to blame for their failings. You're not to blame for their dreams dying.
Then what's there to forgive?
You're just a kid. They're a kid.
There's nothing to forgive. If you didn't do anything, there's nothing to forgive. That would be don't blame yourself. Not forgive yourself. Don't blame yourself. You forgive yourself when you do something bad. Like, I forgive myself for gooning 3 times a day, you know? Like, well, you know, I don't think, you know, it's... Not that I think the bad part is that sometimes I waste time. So, but besides that, I don't think it's a bad thing. But anyway, you get my point.
And I hope that somebody got something good from this in this conversation. But as always, if you guys ever need that encouragement, if you ever need that support, you can.
I don't know what I got from this conversation. That was whiplash. Holy shit! Like straight up whiplash. We went all over the place on that one. That was crazy. But yeah, like I said, he's a transphobe. So f you. And if you have trans kids, please don't abuse them.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.